Ooh, I'm mad and I'm upset right now. Hollywood has a blueprint, two weapons, fantasy and fear, and they use both of them to divide men and women from each other. And the version of the black culture that gets pushed to the forefront in the media and all over social media is not the real version. Me and you know it. We know this with deep in our heart. And now they're coming out with another movie called Is God Is.
I'm gonna make this real simple. Make your daddy dead. Real dead.
I thought the black male bashing era was slowly dying out. But here we go again. Another movie painting a black man in a negative light, especially when it comes to relationships. Another piece added to the case file against our image, while the narrative plays the prosecutor. You know it, folks. Do we really need another movie centered around revenge against the black man? Packaged as empowerment for women? Do we need another one of those movies? They push black women's pain and suffering to the forefront for a reason. Not because they care about those stories, because this conflict sells and adds to the division, fantasy and fear. Because the fantasy creates the unrealistic desires and fear creates the distrust. And you know it, folks. And I'm not here to blame the media or social media. This is just about recognizing their role they played in shaping how we view each other. That's how we got to this point where men and women can look at the same exact thing and come away with two completely different things. A perfect example of that is this Meg, the Stallion, and Klay Thompson situation that's all over the media. You see this clip right here? This is the moment most men knew the relationship was over. 99% of men recognized that instantly. For the simple reason most men are attracted to two things: physical attraction and how you carry yourself, especially in public. But some women seen this same exact situation and said she's just having fun. Why is he being so uptight? Look at Klay's face right there. Look at it. For men, this is similar to that face your mama made at church when you started doing some crazy shit. When you started acting up in church. Remember how mama would make that face? And you knew right then and there you need to stop because you knew what was coming when you got home. And we don't even know if he really did cheat. All we heard is him saying he want to be monogamous. And isn't that what you, and isn't that what you women want? That's what women want. We thought honesty. And this man was honest and taking all kind of hits from the women. Because they believe in this fantasy about love that Hollywood and Disney have been pushing on them. It's not reality. They've been blinded by this. That's why they thought this was going to be another Sierra and Russell Wilson situation, where a nice-looking, rich man comes in and gives them the queen treatment fantasy, and they live happily ever after. It can happen, but it's rare. It's a fantasy. That sounds good in the movies, but in real life, the queen was the worst treated woman in the kingdom. The king had children all over the kingdom. All over the kingdom. He had bastard children all over. Powerful men have never been faithful. Don't you understand that? That's how the population got populated. It has never happened. But only today women think they can control powerful men. It has never happened, ever. But it's a fantasy that you're gonna get this man who look how you want him to look, who treat you how you want to be treated. His swag is on point, and he's only gonna be faithful to you. That's a freaking fantasy. But they put these movies out there like Pretty Woman. They put those movies out there like that. We all know in real life, if Pretty Woman was really based on real life situations, she would go back to the streets when the rich man was done with her. But in the fantasy, that wouldn't sell any movie tickets for the women. And this is what's sad, young ladies. You gotta stop believing in these fantasies and understand about reality. But you don't want that. You love the fantasies. And I'm not here to bash that. I'm just here to expose what the media is doing and social media. And this brings us to this movie, Is God Is, and the fear side of it. Okay, that was the fantasy. Now we're getting ready to talk about the fear. This movie is about twin sisters who were burned as kids, and they learn their father caused it, a black man. And their dying mother tells them to go find him and kill him. So again, look at the pattern. This is another story where a black man is positioned as the villain, and the audience is led through pain, revenge, and a justification for the woman's violence. This is Hollywood's black trauma blueprint. We've seen it before. Color Purple, Wait and Exhale, What's Love Got to Do It? Diary of a Mad Black Woman, but we all thought those days was over. Same story, over and over. Pain, relationships, all fall apart. Black man framed in a certain light, created to serve one purpose, to put fear into your subconscious. Those stories might be based on real situations, but ask yourself this: how many movies have been seen that show the black woman treating the black man bad? You can't name one. Unless he was a child, you might see little spurts and stuff, but not a whole movie dedicated to it where they refund it and push their media behind it. Have you seen a movie where the woman was committing paternity deception? Whole movie based on that? Using the children as leverage in the relationships or custody? Domestic violence against men taken seriously? Cheating where the man is not framed the problem? See, you think you're hearing about all these stories in the news right now? The violence that is happening to the women all over social media and in the news, they're not doing this to bring awareness. They're not. The way they frame the headlines tell you that. They don't care about anybody. They'll do stuff like this. Every 68 seconds a woman is assaulted. They say that to put fear in women. One of the best things I did for my daughters, I taught them about not being fearful. That's why they both married right now. Because they went into their relationships without fear, in good faith. Because I seen what the media was doing. They was putting fear in women. And you can't date with fear. And I tell women all the time, if you have fear in you, don't date. Just like a man, if you don't have no money, don't date. Don't date. Because just like how they say every 68 seconds, they could have easily framed it like this. Less than 1% of women get assaulted every year. That's the truth, folks. Less than 1% of women get assaulted every year. But they don't want to frame it like that because that doesn't create fear. They don't want to frame it like that. It's about narrative framing. Certain stories get framed in ways to push this fear package. This is why you see two types of stories, like I said, that are geared towards women: the fantasy or the fear. And they both serve one purpose: to divide.
Broke it down to its very last compound.